Snowshoe race at Irwin in 1883. You can see there's no preparation. Next. This is taken at Truckee, California, where they have that race right now. Those are old skis that they've made and they use them for races now. Get a load of how high those skis were. 9 to 14 feet, right? How'd you like to turn those suckers? Next. This is Andromeda Lawrence, the only American woman ever to win 2 gold medals in 1 Olympic Games, 1952. Look at those heavy baskets, and I mean they are heavy. Next. There is Ingemar Stenmark, one of the greatest male skiers of all time. He held the record for total World Cup wins until Michaela Schifrin broke his record. When she broke his record about 2 years ago, Ingemar Stenmark was at the finish line with flowers for her. That is class.
Immortality.
Tonight, a moment in alpine skiing history we may never see again, shattering the record held by Ingemar Stenmark for the last 34 years.
Next. This is the La Vida Hotel in Gunnison and the ice skating rink, 1882. The La Vida Hotel was called a peacock among mud hens. 4.5 stories high, built for $250,000. Next. There is skiing in Crested Butte. Get a load of the length of the skis, get a load of the guide poles, and nobody's an après ski. Next. There is the Crested Butte Ski Club. They got ribbons, they got everything. Next. Again, there's the length of the skis. This is out where Skyland is today. Mr. and Mrs. Carl Bergman. This is about 1888. Next.
Well, I'll just stand up at the podium.
There we go.
Here we go.
All right, this is a great shot. This is the only one that I have. The guy on the right in the front is Al Johnson. The guy on the left in front is Charlie Bainey. There they are. 2 of the great ones. Gibson Ridge, 1886. 16 seconds to go 525 yards with no preparation and no gates. Now, Charlie Bainey, incidentally, he became an engineer on the Rock Island Railroad. And he came back to Crested Butte in 1928, 42 years later when he was 58 years old. And he said that the memories were flowing through his mind as he came back. Next. Crystal Snowshoe Club. Now, Hayden wanted me to mention, Steve, wave your hand. This is the guy, they got something called A something, and we colored the photographs. I hope
AI.
you appreciate it.
AI.
AI. I forgot what the other letter was. But there's the Crystal Snowshoe Club in 1886, not far from Marble. Next. Little boy up Ohio Creek with his dog. The dog is bored out of his mind because that kid isn't moving very fast. Next. Little girl named Esther in Crystal in 1885. Next. They had an avalanche at Crystal. With the avalanche having come down, everybody knew there couldn't be another one, so they're walking up the avalanche. Next. When somebody died in Crested Butte in the wintertime, they put them in a blockhouse before they could dig in the ground in the spring of the year. And they're now in 1884 skiing to the blockhouse, a guy who died in that year. Next. There is skiing. I put this in. This is near Animas Forks in Silverton. They had so much snow that year that the telegraph wires were covered. That's 1913. Next. 1907 Crested Butte. On the bottom of that photograph it said that it was a tough day. He said, you wouldn't have recognized us as the same party when we got back. So it must have been a tough day. Next. There are two people skiing right where Skyland is today in 1902. Again, you get a good idea of the length of the skis and the pole. Next. 4 Women, Steamboat Springs, 1920. That one is very interesting because, as Bob Dylan said, the times they are a-changin'. These women on the right have got guide poles. This lady has got baskets. Introduced by Carl Howelson of Steamboat Springs in 1913. Howelson Hill there named for him. Next. Shooting rabbits near Gunnison's Airport, 1924. Next. Skiing at Monarch. You can see the remains of the limestone quarry in the background in the 1890s. Again, you can see they're not making any turns. Next. This is Chicken Ranch, 1 mile up the Slate River in Crested Butte. Again, you can see they've made a few little jumps, and you don't see any figure 8 turns on the way down. Next. Crack the Whip at Cricks Hill. That's across some Cement Creek. That is dangerous in the playground, much less on the damn side of a hill. Next. Toboggan coming off Cricks Hill. Fred Brand was a good friend of mine. This is 1932. He said everybody was afraid of that jump, but nobody wanted to be a chicken. He is now going 35 miles an hour, 10 feet above the ground. He's on the rise, and he's got his flying helmet on. Next. There is the Marshall Pass ski train. February 13th, 1938. Toboggan runs, skiing. That building back there, that's the snow sheds and the main tower. And that's where people were inside getting a good drink, having a meal, dancing the polka. And people dreamed of a ski area. Next. 1924 Monarch. That woman is dressed up, must be a kind of a cool day. They incidentally, in the early years, they cut down spruce timber for the skis and boiled the tips in the camp kettles so they would come up. Next. I love this one. This is 1939. This woman is at the mining town of White Pine and is ready to ski to the railhead at Sargent's with her son mounted in a snowdrift box on top of a sled. She's going 10 miles.
Oh.
Next. This is the gun barrel run at Monarch. That cabin still exists. They had a rope tow that went halfway up and then all the way up. That's a legendary run in Colorado. Next. Vail Pass. I want you all to look at that. You say, Vandenbusche, you're out of your damn mind. How can that be Vail Pass when Gunnison is 42 miles to the west and Salida is 23 to the east? And the reason is, when they built Monarch Pass, the last one, the paved road, 1939, Charlie Vail, the highway commissioner, was arrogant. And he wanted the pass named for him. But the locals kept throwing it into the ditch. And then, to top it all off, they dropped the P, they added an S, and it read Vale's ass. Charlie Vale gave up. And gave it the name it should always had, Monarch Pass, but he got another one named for him later on. Next. This is the start of the Pioneer Ski Area up Cement Creek. This is the WPA, funded by the New Deal, with about 40 men working down below. Now if you look in the upper left there, you can see some of the runs have already been cut, and one of the roads going sideways. Next. There are the runs. Here is the chairlift, this is called the Comet. This is the Big Dipper, which is very steep. I mean very. Next. There is the warming house. If you go up there today, that is the main building for the Pioneer guest cabins. And you can see the tower, and people are waiting to get in line to take the chairlift. Next. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's how everybody got the idea for chairlifts. That's an ore bucket. And the miners used to ride it up and down. 300 feet down below, no problem. And that's how they got the idea for skiing chairlifts. Next. There is the chair. Made in people's basements and garages. Now you can see that's not a very sophisticated chair. And when they started in the fall of the year, the Forest Service saw how far it was from the chair to the ground. They said, you got to raise those damn chairs. People fall out of it, they're going to get killed. And then 20 feet of snow fell and people got flipped out of the chairs because their knees were under their chin. Next. There is the start of a very steep run at Pioneer with Crested Butte Mountain in the background. Next. There is the chairlift, the Comet. The building, they get a little cabin up above. You can still get to that cabin today. Next. Now we come, we got a lot of great skiers in here, I know. This is the greatest of them all. This is an 18-year-old boy from Gunnison High School named Carl Easterly. And in 1938, he is doing one of the first backflips in history anywhere at any time on Quicks Hill. Next. He has now gone off to war. In 1946, Los Angeles, Hollywood found out about him and brought him to Sun Valley. He and his brother Verl are pulled by an ancient helicopter at 50 miles an hour. You can see him filming on the right. This appeared in early television in a program called You Asked For It. Next. They did a flip over the fence. Easterly now is going to ski on alpine skis about 75 yards across the pond. The first time he told me, he thought he'd have more resistance, so he went in. He said, I damn near froze to death before he got me thawed out. Next. He makes it. Next. And does a backflip over another fence. He died in '94 in Silverthorne. Whenever I showed this, I call him up the next morning. And there's a tradition. I said, Carl, I introduced you as the greatest there ever was, and we are now in a tradition going to give Carl Easterly a round of applause. Let's hear it.
There is a helicopter standing by for some hair-breadth raising action. And let's take off, huh? You asked for it. Boy, acrobatics. Going 40 miles an hour. Watch this. Boy, that takes balance, believe me. Yeah. Wow. Let's call it kind of a a swan flange there. Whoops, a fence. What do we do? At 50 miles an hour. Yump. Ooh, brother, with a complete front flip. You'd like to see that in slow motion. We'll slow it down. Look at that. 3-point landing. Up again. That takes balance, believe me. Now this is the ramp here as they take off, a complete flip. Both of them. Mm-hmm. Want to watch it slow? All right. Let's toss them a couple of ropes, see if they'd like to hitchhike. All right, drop them down. They got them. An obstacle sleigh left there by somebody? It's a tricky thing. Now see if you can notice it. Beryl transfers from his skis to Carl's. The two of them in one set. Oh, he drops off, and Carl's all on his own now. Ooh. I should have missed that fence, don't you think? Wow. Oh. That's too fast. I want to see that again. Slow motion. Watch this balance now. That's the most thrilling thing, skiing or sheeing, that I ever saw in my life. And they just opened up their whole bag of tricks there just for you because you asked for it.
Next. This is the 10th Mountain Ski Division. $128 million spent on barracks at Pando, an old mining camp, off Tennessee Pass, right where Cooper Hill is today. We thought, they said, that if the war came to the United States, we would be able to fight in Maine in the summer and Florida in the winter, but not vice versa. We needed ski troops. Next. There they are marching. Next. And incidentally, whenever they got furloughs, they would go to Aspen, sleep on the floor of the Hotel Jerome, and they would ride the boat tow and ski. And to stay warm, because the Jerome wasn't heated very well, they would drink a thick chocolate malt shake spiked with 5 shots of bourbon called Aspen Crud. They never got cold. And they had a famous song that went like this. There are systems and theories of skiing, but one thing I surely have found. Skiing's just good in the winter, but the drinking's good all year around. There is Crested Butte on Maroon Avenue, St. Patrick's Church, during the winter of 1951-52. Too bad we don't have that kind of stuff today, huh? Yeah. Next. Howelson Hill, Steamboat Springs. They also had a boat tow. And now, of course, Storm Mountain opened, later on named Mount Werner. Next. Rope tow Berthoud Pass, 1938. Next. Aspen, Colorado, 1948. Little Nell in the background. Next. Aspen from Little Nell during a ski race. I want you to look at all those spare places. Next. And there they are. That's Chair 1. Put in by Walter Pepke in the late 1940s. And I've ridden that. Put the blanket over your legs so you stay warm. City blocks, there's nothing in them. Other blocks, hardly anything in them. You could buy a home in Aspen in the 1950s for $500 and a lot for $50. They tell me they've gone up a little bit today. Next. This is how they ran the lift at Pioneer, from the back end of a car wheel. That is Sven Wick, our ski coach there, doing the honors. Next. Crosby, Perry, Smith, U.S. Olympic team, 1952 on the Western State team, going aloft at Rosman Hill. Next. Now, I love this. You know, we got slalom races today. Everybody's pretty prepared, right? How'd you like to do a slalom on a course like that? You're skiing the crud, baby. Next. There is the late, great Buddy Werner. We'll come back to him. He's skiing at Rosman Hill in the 1950s. Next. There he is. Buddy Werner skied at Rosman Hill. Probably the greatest alpine skier and men that the United States ever produced, from Steamboat Springs. He is the only American ever to win the downhill at the Hahnenkamm at Kitzbühel, Austria. Darren Rawls won it one year, but they didn't have a lot of snow, so only skied half of it. When you win at Kitzbühel, they say you will never again buy another drink or a meal in all of Austria. When Buddy Werner returned to Europe every year, every one of his friends from Finland and Sweden and Norway and Austria and so on desperately wanted a gift from Buddy Werner when he came back. It was a cowboy hat. And Buddy Werner became known as the Steamboat Springs Cowboy. After the '64 Olympic Games, at the age of 27, he's skiing with Willy Bogner of the ski company, apparel company, at Val d'Isère in France, and there are 15 of them skiing together, and people on the chairlift saw it, an avalanche broke loose. Barbie Hennenberger, a bronze medal winner in the downhill, and the girlfriend of Willy Bogner, and Buddy Werner were in the path of the avalanche. The other 13 were off to the side. Werner and Hindenburger skied straight down to the bottom, beat the avalanche, but the avalanche was so big, it triggered a side avalanche that came in and killed them both. They brought Buddy Werner's body back to Steamboat. Whole town turned out. They buried him. And they named the mountain, they renamed the mountain, which was Storm Mountain, but it's Mount Werner today. Next. Skiing the slalom at Rosman Hill. Next. Here are pre-ski patrol members bringing an injured skier in 1952 at Rosman Hill with Crested Butte Mountain in the background. Next. This is a collegiate race, and I can see the slalom is better prepared. Look at those cars piled all the way up to Highway 135. You see the jumping tower down below. Next. There's the jump. Big W jumping tower, guy in midair. Next. Crested Butte during the winter, 1952. Most people took the battery out of their car, drained the radiator, put it up on blocks. I don't know what the hell that guy was doing on the right. He's not going anywhere because he didn't plow the roads back then. Next. Here is Pershing Mine Hill. There's the Gronk in the background. And a young man is going aloft on the Pershing Mine Hill. Next. There's Junior Gibson going aloft on the Pershing Mine Hill. Next. This is a good friend of mine named Steve Krismanich, who died too young of cancer. This is 1952. This one is in the Flatiron Building, or used to be in the Flatiron Building. They love this. 1952, I guarantee you, The bindings aren't that good, the skis are not that good, and the poles are damn heavy, and that is one hell of a turn with that equipment. Next. Bobby Greenfield coming off the jump. So next time you walk up on the lower loop, look on the left side of the road opposite the Gronk, and that's where the ski hill was. Next. This is Cupola Hill, right above Mountaineer Bowl at Western. This kid is over-rotated. Next. Crested Butte Mountain No Ski Area, 1948. Next. Dick Eflin, his wife Liz. That's Paul Johnston on the left. He had the ore bucket, and later on the Tivoli over in Vail. Next. There's Father McKenna blessing that damn gondola. Did not turn out well. Next. Warming house on the left, the gondola shack on the right, you can see the gondolas. This is middle 1960s. Next. There's the warming house. That building to the right, that is the building for the J Bar. That's where beginners like me frequented. Next. Beer Stew. One of the Malinsik barns located near the bottom of today's west wall. Later on, earlier, the T-Bar. That is where I spent many a great moment. They used to say that in the beer stew, the beer was cold, the music was hot, and the women were all good looking. They had a guy named Jack Hudson. When there was a lot more snow, he would ski, got a little bit to go up on, he'd ski right up on top, you could hear him, and then he'd jump down below and land in a pile of snow in the parking lot. I always think of that Christmas song, up on the housetop, click, click, click. Next. Beer Stew. Next. This is S.J. Miller coming off of one of the Malinsik barns, and Bobby Schweitzer on top ready to come down. Next. Josh Thompson, biathlete, U.S. Olympic Games, 1984. Next. Western State Ski Team, Rosman Hill. I want you to get a load of this sign. Tow tickets, this is Sven Wick, our coach. Tow tickets, $1. They've gone up a little since then. Next. There's the line waiting to get into the gondola shack to ride the gondola. Took 10 minutes to get to the top. 3 people in the gondola. Next. Western State Ski Team, there are 4 Olympic skiers in that, and Sven Wick, our coach, was a 2-time Olympic coach. Next. Getting ready to cross East Maroon Pass up above Copper Lake and heading for Aspen in the wintertime. Next. Robel Strobauer, director of the ski school. Andy Eflin will have a lot more to say about him, I'm sure. Next. This girl is Gretchen Frazier, the first American woman to win a gold medal in 1948 Olympic Games. An accordion player right behind it in the poster. Next. Skiing on top of Monument, 1972, with Mount Crested Butte buildings down below. Next. Ski Patrol at Crested Butte, 1966. Left to right, Jeff Jacobson, John Burns, Mike Zaradka, Walt Fricke, George Sibley, Don Bachman, Billy Schweitzer. Next. Skiing, my favorite run, Phoenix Bowl. Now you see all those people in the background? I was doing some research for a book I was writing. So I tell the ski patrol, you guys hang on, I'm going down to set up. I always got the first run. Always got the first run. Doesn't that look great? No moguls at all. Fantastic. Next, Steve Manfredo, one of the great backcountry skiers, one of the first, died of pulmonary edema climbing Communist Peak, Russia, 1980s. 2,000 people showed up at his memorial, including United States senators, the Secretary of the Interior, and others. Next, Sven Wick and the Western State team on top of Conundrum Pass between Gothic and Aspen. Next, Orbucket Lodge, the only one there. Paul Johnston owned it. That was the first one you could stay in with regard to the Crested Butte ski area, and a lot more buildings there today. Next, this avalanche came down above Three Seasons, and two boys from Texas were in the parking lot ready to go home with their parents, and the avalanche killed one. That's why they have those big fences up on top today. Next, Flying Bambini Brothers. There they are. Where's GJ? There, GJ took the photograph, January 1974. Rick Wood, Peter Brewster, Michael Grazier, Ramjet Evans, Tony Nipa, Brian Fasano. Who am I missing?
Three from Steamboat.
John Bush.
John Bushman.
Yeah, there they are. Fantastic. The 7th and 8th graders I know are going to try that. Next, Whitey Sparsich, Kathy Wertz, first king and queen of Floushing. Next, this is Leo Klinker and Mark Ball. This is the winter of 76-77 of no snow. This is Christmas Day. No snow. The top of the mountain did not open until February 24th. Just no snow. Next, Western State Ski Team, just about on the top of East Maroon Pass heading down towards Aspen. Next, this is the warming house. Freddie Root Beer with the bottle of beer. Next, skating on Maroon Lake by the Maroon Bells at Aspen. Next, little hockey with the Maroon Bells in the background. Next, my favorite view. Magnificent, that's why I live here. Crested Butte with the Elk Mountains in the background. Next and last, 1968 warming house, beer barrel polkas being played. I walk outside and get a nice picture on New Year's Eve 1968. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If not, we appreciate you coming. Let's give Hayden a nice round of applause.